In a shocking and blunt public critique, celebrated TV personality Graham Norton has called Meghan Markle's latest brand, as ever, yet another failed attempt at establishing herself in the public sphere. Norton's scathing comments have left the Duchess of Sussex fuming as he openly dismantled the credibility of her new venture, suggesting it's nothing more than a rehashed and doomed project destined to flop like her previous efforts. The audacity of Norton's critique has stirred controversy, with supporters of Markle lashing out while critics are gleefully echoing his sentiments. Yet, what makes this public critique particularly intriguing is the undeniable factual basis Norton presents: Markle's repeated branding failures, empty promises, and the perception of her as a polarizing figure in both American and British public life. This unraveling moment for Markle's brand, as ever, marks yet another chapter in her tumultuous journey through the world of fame and influence. From the early days of her royal departure to her various public projects and advocacy attempts, it seems that Markle's struggle to establish a lasting and impactful public image is more evident than ever. But what exactly did Norton say that has Meghan so incensed? And why is the public so divided over his remarks? To understand the full scope of this branding disaster, we must dissect not only Norton's biting commentary but also the historical context of Meghan Markle's previous branding missteps. Graham Norton's critique. Unfiltered and unapologetic Norton, known for his sharp wit and unapologetic honesty, did not hold back when discussing as ever. He openly questioned the originality and vision of the brand, labeling it as another superficial attempt to stay relevant rather than an authentic or innovative concept. According to sources close to the TV host, Norton has grown increasingly skeptical of Markle's public endeavors, particularly those marketed as purposeful but ultimately perceived as hollow. Norton's pointed remarks resonate with a broader sentiment of fatigue surrounding Markle's ventures. Many feel that Meghan's attempts to redefine herself beyond her royal ties often come across as manufactured and insincere. The criticism cuts deeper when considering that As Ever was marketed as a fresh and personal project, yet it quickly faced accusations of being out of touch and lacking substance. Past failures and unfulfilled promises. To truly grasp why Norton's critique has hit such a nerve, one must revisit Markle's past branding failures. The ill-fated Archetypes podcast, for instance, promised groundbreaking conversations but struggled to maintain consistent quality and relevance, leading to a quiet conclusion. Then there was the controversial Netflix docuseries that, rather than bolstering her image, left audiences questioning the sincerity of her narrative. From charitable initiatives to social media experiments, Markle's efforts seem plagued by inconsistency and public skepticism. The recurring theme is an apparent disconnect between the grand vision she presents and the practical impact her projects actually have. Critics argue that As Ever merely follows this pattern, offering vague messages wrapped in celebrity allure without delivering a concrete or impactful message. Public reaction. Divided yet predictable public response to Norton's comments has been predictably polarized. While her dedicated fans vehemently defend her intentions, others argue that Norton's critique is long overdue. Social media debates are rife with opinions on whether Markle's public image is salvageable or if she is simply overreaching in a crowded celebrity marketplace. Many cultural commentators support Norton's view, pointing out that Markle's persistent rebranding attempts suggest a lack of clear identity and purpose. The As Ever brand, rather than marking a new chapter, seems to be repeating the same mistakes: vague messaging, celebrity reliance, and a fundamental lack of public resonance. A repeating cycle of brand failures. Whether or not Norton's critique is harsh, it undeniably echoes a recurring issue with Meghan Markle's public ventures. As the dust settles around the latest controversy, the fundamental question remains: can Markle ever break free from this cycle of public branding failures? Or will As Ever fade like so many of her previous projects, leaving her critics with yet another example of unfulfilled potential? Until Markle finds a way to bridge the gap between her vision and the public's perception, it appears that the cycle of controversy and critique will continue. In the end, Norton's critique may serve as a wake-up call, urging Meghan to reevaluate her approach before launching yet another brand into an already skeptical world. Deeper look at As Ever, a brand without substance? As the controversy unfolds, many are beginning to question what As Ever truly represents. Unlike successful celebrity brands that resonate through authenticity and connection, As Ever appears to lack a defined purpose or meaningful engagement with its target audience. Critics argue that the brand name itself is emblematic of Markle's struggle to establish a consistent identity, as the phrase As Ever feels noncommittal and ambiguous. Marketing experts are now analyzing why As Ever failed to generate the anticipated excitement. Some believe it was the result of overhyping the brand without providing substance, while others suggest that Markle's increasingly strained public image has tainted the venture from the start. Whatever the reason, it's clear that the brand's lack of clarity is a significant factor in its lukewarm reception. Can Meghan recover? With the As Ever brand facing intense scrutiny, Meghan Markle now finds herself at a crossroads. Her consistent attempts to build a personal brand that resonates with audiences have. Critics argue that unless she drastically rethinks her approach, the cycle of public disapproval will continue to haunt her efforts. One potential path forward could involve embracing more authenticity and transparency in her projects. Rather than launching polished yet vague brands, Markle might benefit from showcasing more of her personal struggles and evolution, aligning with causes that genuinely resonate with her own experiences. However, even with a revamped strategy, the challenge remains steep. Markle's image has become synonymous with controversy, and many remain skeptical of her intentions, perceiving her as prioritizing fame over substance. Overcoming this entrenched perception would require not just a rebranding of her public image but a complete paradigm shift in how she engages with both media and audiences. Regardless of her next move, it is clear that the fallout from Norton's critique has highlighted the fragile state of Meghan Markle's public endeavors. Whether she chooses to double down on As Ever or pivot to new ventures, the outcome will likely shape the next phase of her controversial public journey.